Welcome. We are here at the Sub-Junior and Junior World Championships live from Romania. And for anyone that hasn't been paying attention, this is the biggest Sub-Junior and Junior World Championships in history with over 650 lifters, over 55 countries. And we've had an amazing performance. The equipped session is over. It wrapped up yesterday. We had the banquet last night. Unfortunately, the score sheet is not updating, so we don't have like up-to-date results numbers in terms of team points on the men's side. So basically on the men's side, everything that we had from yesterday is the same as what we talked about during our pregame show yesterday. On the women's side, we know we had the final results because they actually wrapped up the day before. And on the women's side, the Team USA finished first place on the sub-junior women and finished in third place on the junior women. So once we get the full updated score sheet, we'll get that information to you about on the men's side. But we did have some great performances yesterday from the men. We talked with all of them last night in the press conference. If you haven't been following along, every morning we'll be doing a live pregame show here on YouTube, and then we'll be doing live press conferences with our athletes every evening after the final session is over. So you get to hear a recap straight from the athletes themselves. Definitely go back and listen to those from yesterday. We had a ton of fun. It was the wrap-up of the Equip show. We had to keep the post-competition press conferences kind of short because we had the Equipped banquet going on yesterday to go and celebrate those amazing athletes on the Equip side. But yesterday we had Ario Sanyalu competing in the 105 kilo. He's a sub-junior. We had Chase Lawton, 105 kilo junior, and Bailey McKenzie in the 105 kilo juniors. And of those three, Ario bombed out on bench, but had a really great attitude about it. Still finished strong. Still finished off with deadlifts. And still, after he was done, he didn't hang his head. He went right back out into the crowd and started cheering on his fellow athletes for the rest of the day. He was one of the best in terms of being one of the biggest fans. You could always hear his voice in the crowd. And if I'm being honest, I'm going to be sad to not be hearing his voice out there again today. It's pretty sad, these lifters, whenever they finish up, they wrapped up, most of the Equipped squad has left the building. They're out. They're on their way back to the U.S. We wish them all safe travels. But yeah, so we had a Rio. He bombed out on bench, but like I said, great spirit, great guy. Talking to him last night after the press conferences, after the banquet and everything, he's fired up. He's ready to continue to put on muscle and see where this can go because he's only been in the sport for a short amount of time and the future is really, really bright. He came on the scene with a bang at high school nationals, and then now he's just one of the favorites on the team going forward. We can't wait to see what he does next. Chase Lawton had himself a day. He had moved up into the juniors, and I believe he still finished in third place. And that's great because he was the reigning world champion in the sub-juniors, and it's always tricky moving up into the juniors. You're going to have a lot of older lifters there to compete against. It can be difficult. Mentally it can be difficult, but nothing can faze the Monster. He goes by the nickname The Monster or Juicy, and he's a great competitor. He's headed off to Ottawa University with Coach Ryan Baylark, so we're really looking forward to see what he does next. And just a great competitor, great all-around guy. If you follow us along on Powerlifting_America on Instagram, you'll see some interviews with him, and more importantly even is you'll see an interview with John Burford where he talked about what it would be like to sort of hand over the reins from Chase, because Chase was one of John's lifters at Covington High School, and now he'll be going off to college. He's already been starting college, and he'll be being coached by Coach Ryan Baylark. So he talked a little bit about that. You could tell that John, I wouldn't say he was getting like super emotional or anything, but you could just kind of tell that it was kind of a special final run with one of his studs there with Chase in the 105 kilo class yesterday. And then we had Bailey McKenzie in the juniors as well. He basically lifted raw. I mean, I don't think he had a squat suit. I don't think he wore a bench shirt, is it? Yeah, I think he had a squat suit. He wore knee wraps, but he didn't have a bench shirt. He didn't have a deadlift suit. He's just like learning the gear. Also a young guy just getting into equip lifting, and really sweet, nice guy that we'd like to see out there on the platform again. In session 2, we had Cale McDaniel in the 120s. in the 120 sub juniors, and then we had Chandler Loescher in the 120 juniors. They both balled out and did their thing. Chandler made a big comeback from after bombing out at bench. He was very nervous on bench. He talked about this in the press conference. He's a sweet kid. He's going to Southeastern Louisiana University next year, and they're going to be starting a powerlifting club down there. So that'll be great to see. He's probably going to start to get. So, he's going to keep powerlifting, and he's going to find himself a good coach and keep pushing. He's got a big bench, and yeah, he rebounded from his performance at Nationals really well, and I think he had a little bit of nervousness, a little bit of anxiety. That's all gone now. So I think big things coming for Chandler. Like I said, Cale McDaniel, we had him, the sub-junior. He's got a lot of time left as a sub-junior. He is an absolute stud. I think he ended up tying and losing on body weight, for tying first place and losing on body weight. So he said to me afterwards in the warm-up room that he was never going to let that happen again, and he is very fired up. So definitely be looking out for Cale McDaniel. And then in the 120 plus category, we had Kellen Myers in the sub juniors. Deadlift, he didn't have a great day on deadlift. He got some of his lifts overturned. He's a really sweet kid. His dad's been here the whole time helping and handling. Really great family. He's a trumpet player. He's actually got a scholarship to go play trumpet in college. So that's really cool to see someone having some, one of these 120 pluses. He's into jazz and all this kind of stuff. So we'll see him on a different kind of stage in the future. But he's also fired up and ready to continue pushing, getting stronger. And he had a blast here at these World Championships for sure. Then we had Luke Mellon also in the 120 pluses. And Luke, he had a little bit of a victory tour, a little bit of a farewell tour, if you will, and he actually, I think, outperformed like damn near everyone's expectations. I know he had told me coming into this that he was expecting to finish in last place, and he actually ended up not finishing in last place and beating Philippe Perage, which, by the way, I had a side bet going with Gaston about, and I actually ended up losing the bet because I took Luke's advice and betted against Luke. But anyway, so I fulfilled some of my obligations last night in terms of the requirements of that bet, and then there's still more to come in the coming days since we'll all still be here going forward. But Luke had a really, it was cool to see him back there. He was getting coached by his mentor, by the guy that got him into equipped lifting and getting, wearing Mike Z's bench shirt, and just kind of a nice full circle moment for him that he talked about in the press conference. And we're really happy to see that happen there. And then the classic session, so that wraps up everything on the equip side. As we said, the equip team did really great. We're really proud of them. They're a tight group, tight-knit young group of kids. They're mostly all from Louisiana. Louisiana and Texas. There's so many great stories, so many great feel-good moments, just good kids out there. And we just really wish them the best, and I'm definitely sad to see them go. It's kind of like the end of summer camp I was describing yesterday. We bonded with this group really quick when we got here. They've been in the trenches with us. A lot of them you've seen here on the pregame shows and in the press conferences, like our guy Nick, our guy Lando, and Jacob Pennington coming in here and doing these pregame shows and all this stuff with us. JT Silvera. So some of these guys that were here on day one. Definitely sad to see them go, but congratulations to them and their amazing performances. As we mentioned, we did on the equip side win 2 best lifters on the women's side. We got the bronze medal for Kat Cargill and the bronze medal for Bella Vargas as well. So big hats off to them, representing their country really well, putting Team USA on the equip side, putting them on the map here in these World Championships. And again, we wish them all the best of luck as they travel back to the U.S. and go back to real life. But meanwhile, we are still here at the Sub-Junior and Junior World Championships in Romania, and we are on day 5. The end of day 4, session 3, actually kicked off the classic session. Kicked off the classic championships in the 53 kilo class. We had Gavin Mag and Derek Lee competing. It was really, really funny because Derek Lee spells his last name L-E. And F, you know, I mean, a lot. I think one of the announcers, like, maybe has a French background or something, so they just kept calling him Le Derek, Le Derek. And we asked Derek if we wanted him, he wanted us to ask the speaker to correct it. And everyone thought it was really cool that they were calling him Le Derek. And so he said no, and we kept him. So throughout the entire competition, he was being called Le Derek. It was really great. He was a great sport about it. And then we had Gavin Mag in that weight class as well. As far as I can see, there is no update on the score sheet on Goodlift. They haven't added the score sheet in for the classic side yet. So I don't remember the exact results, but I know they're finishing at the bottom of the pack, and it was a battle between the two of them. And in the end, it was Gavin Mag that came away with the win against Derek Lee, or Le Derek as he's affectionately known as now. But they're both really great young guys, really, really cool young kids. And especially, you know, they fought hard. And it was interesting because the equipped session was wrapping, and so I think a lot of the equipped team and all of the equipped lifters that have been in the crowd all week, they left to go get ready for the banquet, and so the crowd was just a little bit empty. I wish there was a bigger crowd for these guys, Gavin and Derek, in there, but it was cool to see the classic session kick off. It kind of got those competitive juices flowing for our classic coaching staff in there. So Vin, if you don't know, Vin Mangione is I think his official title is like the Raw coordinator, but basically he's the head coach of the Raw classic team here at the World Championships. John Burford is the head coach of the entire team, and also the head coach on the equip side. So, but Vin got to come in and kick off his World Championships handling these two guys, him and Tom Beal. And it was just cool to see. It was kind of like a sequel to what we saw down in the Cayman Islands, because those guys were down there handling as the head coaches of the classic team down there in the Cayman Islands. So it's kind of getting the band back together again. Vin came in just the night before, so he got to kind of kick the tires on the classic team a little bit and take it for a spin before, you know, in what was a fairly low-risk session here with two of our own lifters kind of bringing up the bottom of the pack, where they could just kind of have some fun and go out there and show off what they had on the world stage. So really cool. So going forward, now moving into day 5. We have 3 sessions today. In the first session, we have a 47-kilo sub-junior Trinity Klinger. In session 2, we've got a 59-kilo, really a star in Bodie Laco. And let me go ahead and pull up these nominations here real quick. I got too many tabs open, and let me see, where are my nominations? But Bodie is a extremely, extremely strong lifter. He's definitely someone to watch out for in the 59-kilo class, and he's a junior lifter in the 59s. He's nominated number 3 with a 562, but he's right there knocking on the door with the 2 above him in that weight class. So that's going to be a fun battle to see what he might be able to pull off. And someone was just trying to come in here. Oh, let me just pause this for one second. Okay, sorry about that. Someone's looking for the scale. This is not the room with the scale in it. I'm sorry, so couldn't help you out with that, but my man. But yes, so I was talking about Bodie Laco. Bodie will be competing in the second session in 59 kilos. I talked to him a little bit. He was here just a little bit ago checking his weight, and I'm not sure where he went, but he might pop through. That's why I was just checking the door to see if he is here. But Bodie is the younger brother of Dalton Laco, who competed at the North American Powerlifting Championships down in the Cayman Islands. And Dalton told me when he was down there that he was worried about Bodie possibly pushing his total and possibly having his younger brother out total him. So like I said, he's nominated with the 5. He's nominated on the score sheet as a 562. It looks to me like his best total is a 552 on open powerlifting at least. And then I'm going to pull up Dalton And let's see where Dalton is here. So Dalton down in the Cayman Islands did a 577.5. So if Bodie can add a little bit to his total and get up over 577.5, that would be a great feat for him to out total his brother. Like I said, he's nominated with a 562, but it's really a 552 is what I'm seeing in open powerlifting. And that was back at Junior Nationals back in June in Scottsdale. So hopefully he's had time to add on to his total. If you don't know about the Lecoq family, these boys were built to deadlift. I mean, they have monster deadlifts. So we're looking at, it's a possibility that he could be pulling into 600 pounds. I'm almost for sure that he'll do it at this World Championships. His best to date is 573 pounds, or if you want to go to kilos, 260 kilos. He's trying to pull 272.5, would break that 600 kilo barrier for him. So we're really looking to see, he'll probably win deadlift gold. Let me just look on the nominations, and it looks like, yes, it looks like Ivan Campano Diaz from Spain in the 59 kilos. You might remember him from being at the World Championships in Malta. He's nominated with a 602 in first. He also has a big deadlift. So Bodie and Lecoq boys, they usually get gold medals when it comes to deadlifts. But here we have a big deadlifter in Ivan Campano Diaz. So we'll see how that goes. But that will be fun, exciting battle to see if Bodie can out-total his brother, if he can pull 600, if he can win a gold medal on deadlift, and if he could possibly, depending on how the day goes, have a gold medal performance on total overall. Because Bodie is definitely a fierce competitor and someone that you do not want to take lightly if you're one of these other countries. So if Ivan thinks that he can cakewalk through these World Championships, he's got another thing coming if he doesn't know who Bodie Lecoq is. These Lecoq boys, they've been competing for a long time, back in 2014. So this is definitely not his first rodeo. Bodie in the past has won the IPF World Championships as a sub-junior multiple times. It looks like at least 2 times that I have here on Open Powerlifting. So Bodie is no newcomer to the international platform. He's been there, done that before. He's won world titles. So I think he's a little bit of a sleeper in this weight class. Maybe people don't know about him. He's only 19. He's one of the youngest guys in this weight class for sure. I mean, he's definitely full 2 years younger than Ivan. Or Ivan, however you pronounce his name. So definitely a fun second session here where the U.S. has got a dog and we've got one athlete competing in this session. Yeah, you can just leave that cracked so that people can open it. So that's what we got going on today on session 2. Session 3, we've got another stacked session with 2 of our superstars on the sub-junior squad in Jessica Haggerty in the 52 kilo weight class and Eleni Guerrera in the 57 kilo weight class. If you've been listening to the Powerlifting America podcast, if you've been listening to Monday Night Live, then you know that these are 2 of our stars that we've been hyping all season long. I had a podcast episode that I did with Eleni. If you haven't listened to that, today would be a good day to dust it off and go listen to that episode with Eleni if you're looking to kind of get hyped up before watching these World Championships later on today. This will be in session 3. I think it starts like 5 o'clock our time, so I think it's like 9 a.m., something early morning in the U.S. time. But Eleni is a rising star. A lot of people know about her. She's being coached by Vin Mangione as her personal coach. He'll also be handling her here as the head coach at these World Championships. So that's always a great combination whenever you have your personal coach also being the head coach of the team. So he knows her lifts really well. He'll be able to, make all the right decisions for her. And we're looking at a great performance coming from Eleni in the 57s. But if you've been listening to Monday Night Live, you know that I myself am a huge fan of Jessica Haggerty in the 52 kilo weight class. So she's a 52 kilo sub-junior. She's nominated in second place. So in the 52 kilo sub-juniors, in first place is Italian lifter Alice. She's nominated with a 332.5, and Jessica Haggerty is nominated in second place with a 327.5, and then another Italian lifter, Elisa, is nominated in third place with a 320. So basically within about 12 and a half kilos, we have spots 1 through 3 here, and it's an Italian sandwich with Jessica Haggerty in the middle, and it is going to be a really epic battle. So Jessica competed way back in March. So the total that she's nominated with here is a 327.5. That's from way back in March. Like I said, she's had a ton of time to add on to her total since then. And I know for a fact, because I've spoken with her coach, I've spoken with her parents, she has added a ton on her total since then. So she's going to definitely go well beyond 327.5. She's been here a couple days. She's adjusting, for the super lightweight lifters, like in the 52 kilo weight class. Usually travel doesn't affect them as much. Being on a plane for 20 hours and stuff is not as difficult whenever you're a small person and can, comfortably sit in those seats. So shouldn't be any kind of problem there. I know that her body weight is on point. She's not going to have any issue making the cut. She ought to be able to eat some food today and be able to be fueled up and fired up and ready to go. So really excited to see what Jessica will pull off today, because I think she's someone that flies under the radar. She's got one of the legendary coaches in her corner, RG Luckow. I've had the great pleasure of getting to hang out with him. He's been coming here and hanging out, and he's been coaching, one of the assistant coaches for the equipped team. So he's been back there wrapping knees. You might have seen him on some of the videos. One of the lifters that he coached was Mackenzie Wells. You might have heard of her. She just won a world championship a couple days ago for the U.S. national team. And if you watch those videos, you'll see, we posted a reel about it. You'll see RG there celebrating with her. She comes off the platform. You'll see him also on a video clamping Bella Vargas's belt in one of those videos. So he's been around. I got the pleasure of talking with him. Yes, her numbers are absolutely flying. So we're not going to give any more details than that. I mean, you can pretty much assume as a sub-junior lifter that's coming to the World Championships who takes powerlifting extremely seriously that she's going to be adding to her total since March. Like, there's just absolutely no doubt about that. So she is going to be a star in the sport, and I can't wait for everyone out there to see her, because she's fired up. And so if we're looking at her numbers here just on her nominations, she's got a huge bench. So, I mean, there's a high probability that she's going to walk away with the gold medal on bench. She's also extremely competitive on squat as well. She's a good all-around, well-rounded lifter. Of these three ladies, if we're just going off of nominations, she's actually got the smallest squat, but only 2.5 kilos behind Alice. She's got the biggest bench by a lot, by almost 10 kilos. And then she's right there in the middle between them on deadlift. So she's 12.5 behind Alice, and she's 10 above Elisa. So it's a really well-rounded, she's a very well-rounded lifter, but definitely something of a subtotal specialist with that huge bench press that she has. So let's see what's possible for her there. There's definitely either, there's a bench gold on the line, and then there's also going to be a world championship on the line as well for Jessica Haggerty. So everyone's really excited to, see her perform, and then also just get her out there a little bit, because RG is one of the more old school style coaches where he does not want her to post anything at all in terms of training. He doesn't want to give her opponents even the slightest bit of advantage to see what she might have. And there's no question, if you listen to Powerlifting America podcast, listen to Monday Night Live, a lot of the U.S. coaching philosophy in terms of attempt selection over the years has been heavily influenced by the legendary Matt and Susie Gary. And if you read Matt Gary's book, there's a whole chapter in there where he talks about scouting, and there's many examples in there where he said that he was able to find very useful insights by watching someone's training on Instagram that ultimately led him to in extremely close battles, make the exact right calls that make the difference between winning and losing the world championships, or winning and losing a national championship, whatever the case may be. So RG is kind of from that school of thought of like, don't show even anything, no warm-ups, no back downs, nothing. So the flip side of that is that if she were posting frequently, everyone would know who she is. She would be a star in the sport. She is like she reminds me a lot of Turbo Tiff. She kind of has the same kind of feisty attitude that you'll see from Turbo Tiff. Tiffany Champone from France, shout out Team France. But yeah, she could be definitely a star in the sport, and so that's why we're really excited, because No one's going to hide her lifts that she does today in a few hours later on today. Everyone's going to see them, and we'll be posting them for sure. We'll make a reel for her no matter what and get her out there. And I just can't wait to sort of introduce her to the world later on today. And hopefully we'll be introducing her with a bunch of gold medals around her neck and coming home with the world title. So that would be great. But next up, in the 57 kilo weight class, I mentioned before, Eleni Guerrero. We did a podcast episode with her. You should know about her. We talk about her on Monday Night Live very frequently. We repost her all the time. She's got a massive deadlift. All of her lifts have been blowing up recently. She's nominated with the 375 total, and she's going against a woman from Singapore named Chloe, who has a 379 kilo nomination. Now, again, with Eleni, that total is from way back when in March. So since then, she started working with Vin Mangione. You know her total is blowing up. Any of these sub-juniors, if they can keep lifting consistently, are going to make massive and quick gains. So we know she's going to be going up quite a bit from 375. We're not exactly sure where. We don't want to give away too much, but if you've been following her on Instagram, she posts her lifts. She's got a huge deadlift. Like, she's posted some epic, huge deadlifts. I think she's pulled above the world record in training on deadlift. So we're definitely going to see a potential world record there on the deadlift side of things. We're also going to we're definitely going to see her come home with the gold medal on deadlift. And then, but beyond that, we'll see. She's in a fight when it comes to squat. She might be able to get the gold medal there as well. Just kind of depends on how Chloe does from Singapore. And then they're both like very close on bench. So Chloe has a little advantage on squat, and Eleni has I would say a big advantage on deadlift, and then they're very close on bench with Chloe being nominated at 3.5 kilos above. That must be some kind of record, so that's great. Chloe definitely has got a good bench. They're both extremely strong, extremely well-rounded lifters, so I'm excited to see where they might end up there in that weight class. Eleni definitely is a star on the rise as well. Hopefully everybody already knows about her. Like I said, we repost her all the time. She's being coached by one of the great coaches in the game right now, Vin Mangione. And she's just a great superstar. She's been here. Her and Jessica Haggerty have been running around here all day yesterday together like two little peas in a pod, and just having a blast. And if you follow Eleni Guerrero on Instagram, you'll see she's been posting just how much fun she's having to meet these people. Like, she got to barely meet Jessica Haggerty at high school nationals back in March, but then they've been friends on social media since, and now they get to hang out and meet in person and spend time together, and it's just really cool. I know that also one of her best friends is Chelsea Enamore, who she also met at high school nationals. She flew in early specifically to come and watch this show, watch this battle that's going to happen today. So hopefully we'll get Chelsea on one of these pregame shows. We'll definitely get Eleni and Jessica Haggerty in here tomorrow, probably on the pregame show, if they're going to be around. I know that I think they're both sticking around all the way through for the banquet. So yeah, we'll get them in here, and we'll get you guys to be able to ask some questions and talk to them here on our pregame show, as well as don't forget later on today, when that session is over, as soon as it's over, once they got all the gold medals hanging around their necks, Eleni and Jessica will be coming up here along with Bodie Lecoq for the post-competition press conferences, as well as Trinity Klinger. Now, I have not spoken that much about Trinity Klinger. I'm going to pull up where she's at on these nominations. So let me see here. She's nominated in last place, okay, with a 182.5, but the girl in front of her from Japan is 195, so she can definitely catch up to her. Right now, she's trying to make weight, though. According to what I have been hearing, she was a little bit above weight, so we're waiting to see, is she going to make weight or not? We're not exactly sure if she is going to make weight or not, but I think she is going to, because I think she was only like 0.1 kilos above. So I have not got an update. Nobody has come in here to update me yet, so I was kind of waiting to see if we could get an update on that before I talk about Trinity. But nonetheless, she's good enough to get here. She deserved it. She earned a spot on the U.S. national team. Just pulling up her open powerlifting here. She only has 2 entries. So, I mean, coming in as a high school lifter, it might be that her high school doesn't have results coming in open powerlifting. I'm guessing that she's got a lot more competitions under her belt in high school. And she's based down in Arizona, it seems, or at least I know she did the Lake Pleasant Classic down in Arizona, and then she did Classic and Junior Nationals to get it on this team. Her total went up by about looks like about 5 kilos in just a matter of 3 months there. So I think she's a young lifter that's kind of just starting out, getting into the sport. On nominations, we're looking, she's 2 years younger than the oldest lifters in this in this age group, in the sub juniors. So she's definitely has more time as a sub junior. So I'm sure we'll see her climb up those rankings as time goes on there. But that will about wrap it up for us here on the pregame show today. It's a little bit of a sad one. It's a little bit of a different vibe. It's a little bit somber. We're losing our equipped team. They're gone. They're flying home. They all mostly flew out at 6 a.m. this morning. We're sad to see them go, for sure. We bonded really quickly. They're a tight-knit group. They know each other really well. They're all mostly based in Louisiana, so they're a really tight-knit group, really a lot of fun. I had an absolute pleasure hanging out, getting to know them, spending time with them, and definitely sad to see them go. But, that's the way it is. You make great, fast relationships, and they come and go, and that's what these world championships, that's what competing at the world stage is all about. It's about making new friends. I know I saw them running around all week with the kids from Australia and New Zealand and Ukraine, and it's just cool to see these young kids get these opportunities to come out here, travel the world, go to a different country like Romania, compete on the biggest stage in powerlifting, come and sit here and do press conferences, and really get to know them. And I just can't wait to see them all again someday at wherever the next competition may be. So hats off to you, equipped team. You guys balled out. You did your thing. Yesterday on the pregame show, we had Jacob Pennington up here and Lando Diepenbrock, and they were talking about how everyone was going to ball out. So shout out to those guys. But yeah, you guys balled out. You did your thing, and we're really happy for you. Really proud of you, and looking forward to see you again next time. But we got to move on. We're on to the classic side of things, and we're going to start off with a bang today on day one. Like I said, we've got Trinity Klinger coming up in the first session. We've got Bodie Lacoe of the famous Lacoe Boy clan. And then we've got our 2 young sub-junior superstars in Eleni Guerrera and Jessica Haggerty coming up in the third session. That is a fitting end to the day. We'll have something of like a prime time session with those 2 superstars on the rise. And so with that, make sure you come back here to our YouTube account where we'll be doing this pregame show every morning throughout the rest of these World Championships. In the U.S., I know it's crazy late at night, but hopefully you can watch this when you wake up and then get a little bit of a sense of what's going to happen on the day. As the competition goes on, we're transitioning. I would normally have some of my equip squad here with me to talk, and put them up here on the mics and let them talk about each other and stuff. Super fun. But on the classic side, most of our team just arrived last night. Only the lifters that are competing today have really been here, and they're focused on their competition today. But going forward, we should have Jessica and Eleni. I know they're big. I know Eleni, especially, you all know her. She's very media savvy. You don't know Jessica very well, but she's also very good. So we'll have them coming in here and kind of doing commentary for us on the pregame shows going forward. And then every day at the end of the final session, we'll have our post-competition press conferences in here. They've been really good. These kids are really smart. They say some really funny things. So it's been really fun to have them do their press conferences in here. And yeah, so that's what we'll be doing. Just follow along on Powerlifting_America on Instagram. You can see all the behind-the-scenes coverage. I'm doing interviews with the athletes. As soon as they come off and get done squatting, before they start doing their bench warm-ups, I'll do a quick interview, pop it up on our Instagram story. Make sure to watch that. We'll do little interviews with the coaches where necessary, if there's battles and things going on, to kind of give you an update of like where things are as we progress. So make sure you're following on our Instagram story at Powerlifting_America. Make sure you're subscribed to us here on YouTube. Powerlifting America. We're going to keep doing these. Make sure you're watching the World Championships. We've got the link below that has the link tree for the IPF. You can just go to goodlift.com, click on live, click on the live score sheet. You can see watch these World Championships. The IPF, I got to give a shout out. They've done a really good job with these World Championships. The live stream, Eric Rupp and his crew on the media team, they're doing a spectacular live stream. They've got great commentators in there. They're making it exciting. The energy during the equip sessions has been pretty electrifying at moments, for sure, especially when there's battles going on, especially when the U.S. team is out there and some of the other teams. The U.S. team, unlike at the World Championships in Malta, where I feel like we didn't have as big of a crowd and the crowd didn't get as loud for us, here the crowd has almost across the board been the loudest for the U.S. national team. And that goes to show a lot of how tight-knit that equipped squad is, because they would all come and sit in the front row and cheer each other on the whole time. It was awesome to see that, and I hope that tradition will continue on our classic team. I wish those equipped kids would be here for another week to cheer on the classic side of things, but it is what it is. They got to go back to school, and it's expensive to stay here for that long just to watch the World Championships. But nonetheless, shout out to IPF, man. They're running a really great competition here, and shout out to Aline, the organizer of this competition. I know it's the president of the Romanian Powerlifting Federation, Movidu, I think is his name. I'm sure I'm butchering it, but Aline is my guy who speaks English really well, and because Movidu, he doesn't really speak too much English, and so but Aline, the guy that's really been kind of running the show here behind the scenes, he has just shown us like the best, like the most hospitality. He's just everything about these World Championships has gone off without a hitch. It's really fantastic. It's really well run, and it's, you know, hats off to the IPF and to Aline for running a really great competition so far. So that will do it for today's pregame show. We will be back here again, like I said, tomorrow. We'll be back here for press conferences. Make sure to tune in. Make sure to watch. We got all the links. If you're watching this, we got all the links below and everything you need to see. And if you don't see the links there, follow us on Instagram. We'll post the links each session as they unfold in our Instagram stories. And with that, I will thank you to everyone who listens to these, and we will check you out next time. We'll see you here, same time, same place tomorrow, and we'll see you here at the press conference. And with that, let's go get these dubs for the U.S. national team. Peace.